Gentlemen, we're here.
Hello.
We are here.
Trade deadline. It's not the deadline today, even though before we started recording, a flurry of trades started to come in. But gentlemen, anyways, how are we today?
Good. It's a nice Sunday. We are back, the three of us.
Yeah, it's exciting.
We need energy. Well,
it's
yeah,
exciting.
We need energy.
Exciting.
I'm excited.
It's exciting.
You know,
I can't wait. Listen, I can't wait for
go.
Friday. I can't wait for Friday when some random depth defenseman gets traded for a 5th round pick. That's all.
Shout out to the TSN fourth line winger song. Go find that. It's really, really funny. If you just type in fourth line winger, it'll come up on YouTube. I feel bad for James Duffy.
Yeah.
Alex tweeted about it. It was just everyone's just egging on. Chris Johnson, the crypto bro, was doing it. Shout out. I have to mention that he is every time I say his name. Don't judge me. Okay, guys. Oh, there is so much to start, so much to talk about. Oh, goodness gracious. So I think we should start with this is how the show is going to go today. Okay, we're going to open talking about Linus Ullmark because a goalie goal happened, and that matters more than anything in the league. Okay,
I thought you weren't going to start with that, and I was going to be very upset.
No, Alex, I'm the goalie. If you didn't think I was putting on my Instagram, I mean, I don't post a lot of stuff on my Instagram, but when I do, I care about it.
Yeah, a Boston post at it as well.
Exactly,
That's surprising.
Man. But you have to have respect for the goalie go. Anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the trades, Dodonov being traded. We're a Habs and Leafs podcast, so we got to talk about that. Ivan Barbashev is a Vegas Golden Knight. We don't have the details yet, which is always annoying, but shout out for them making the trades before the show, especially the Dodonov one. Thank you, Ken Hughes. We're going to talk about Kane and the Rangers because it's basically going to happen any day now. Orlov and Hathaway are Boston Bruins. Craig Smith is now a Capital. I feel so bad for him. Going to just quickly check on what's going on with Chychrun and Gavrikov and that. The Zaitsev trade, talking about Nashville being open for business. Timo Meier could be done within the next 24 hours. Carolina, what are they doing? The Sens, JVR. Stuff about Vegas I want to talk about because Alex is here now. Last night's San Jose retiring Patrick Marleau's number. I want to talk about Craig Berube and everything to do with there in Pittsburgh and that game between them and St. Louis, whatever. Stuff on Hockey Night Jeff Merrick talked about. Also stuff about Joe Quenneville and that. Note on Pat Hickey. And, of course, at the end of the show, I just want to give our best to Spencer Knight because that guy's going through a lot. Anyway, to start the show, gentlemen, I think we should talk about Patrick Kane because it is the biggest story. No offense.
I thought we were going to start with the goalie.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I was surprised.
Whoa.
Sorry, we got to go through it.
Okay.
I even put here hockey's version of catching the golden snitch, a goalie goal. Empty netter. Apparently, the second time it's ever happened to Vancouver, a goalie scored on them. Linus Ullmark will probably win the Vezina this year.
Yeah,
has a good chance of winning a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. Everything is going right there, including a goalie goal. The first one since Pecorino in 2019.
2020.
Wait, it was 2020? So was it I'm going to save face and hope it was in the 1920 season, or I'm going to look very silly. But
I think so, yeah.
3 years.
Yeah. Wow, 3 years.
Well, Daniel, I want you to start because you do own him in fantasy. So I just want to know how it feels to have a goalie, even though you get 0 points.
Yeah, it's great.
To have.
Again, waiver pickup. I mean, no one drafted him.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Yeah. And I didn't even get him in the first 2 weeks. I got him like the 3rd or 4th week.
What were we doing?
Which was crazy. And, reaffirming what I loved about picking him up. And before I could even check Yahoo Fantasy, Steve Dangle already tweeted it out that I'm not going to get any points for the goal. And he confirmed it. So, let him enjoy the moment in reality, but he still had a solid performance in fantasy. So I'm happy about it. It's just crazy, like the way, like we've mentioned already, like the Bruins, the way they've been playing, the way they've been trading for. It's just like they're tacking on every single thing they could think of and accomplish it in the regular season, at least for now.
So I haven't actually looked at his numbers and his stat line for a couple of months now. He has started 37 games. He has 30 of those as wins, 4 losses, 1 overtime loss, a .938 save percentage. So first off, fantasy, I wish there was a custom option where we could make it that if you score like a goalie goal, like I would make it 1,000 points. No joke. I would make it 1,000 points. Like it is that big a deal.
Daniel just wins his week like that. There's
he should. Listen, as commissioner of our fantasy league, I am declaring that no longer. Listen, I'm going to say this as commissioner of our fantasy league.
For now.
Listen, right now, Alex, shut up. Let me just get through this. Listen, Alex is probably the favorite to win the league. Him and Scott 2, me 3, probably. I want to say that no matter who wins, Daniel, you are the real winner in my heart because you got a goalie goal. The fact that doesn't count in fantasy, I don't care what you have to do. Like, add something. That is incredible. Like, I wonder, do they get points for assists too? Like, I think that's something we have to think about here. But, still, good for Allmark. That's so cool.
Yeah. Are you saying I'm the real MVP?
Yeah, man. You got a goalie goal, of course. There's nothing in hockey gets everyone excited quite like a goalie goal. No. They're such a big deal.
You brought up his stats there, and I remember when we did the halfway award show, way too early halfway award show.
The 201 podcast award show. Come on.
I don't know if it was a consensus Connor Hellebuck that we all picked, or I'm pretty sure I picked Connor Hellebuck at least. And honestly, again, this was back then. I feel like you just gotta, with those stats, without the goalie goal, you kind of just did. It's such an incredible season that Allmark is having.
I will say, I actually saw something about Hellebuck's advanced numbers. His saved above average is apparently it's getting past peak price the way he's playing this season. Cool. But goalie goal trumps all of it. Sorry, but goalie goal. Sorry, Hellebuck. Goalie goal.
You score a goal.
Golden Snitch, Hellebuck. Man. Yeah, Daniel has him too.
Oh, do you have Connor Hellebuck too?
I have both of them.
Of course you do. God.
Connor Hellebuck I did draft, but yeah, Allmark was a pickup.
I remember the draft. I think Adam and I were trying to be sneaky with our goalie. So I picked Sorokin because freaking Ilya Sorokin. But then I also picked Jack Campbell because I'm the goalie wins. And then, Adam, did you draft Matt Murray or did you?
No, I picked him up months into the season.
Okay. I'm who did you pick for your goalies? Markstrom,
which I really thought was going to work. And has been an all-time fail. He's been a free agent for months and no one's touched him. And then in the third last round, I got Bennington because I thought the Blues will get some wins, and they are not getting wins. It is not going well in St. Louis right now.
I mean, he's showing the passion, so it's okay.
See, in a way, he has. We'll get to that a little later because I really want to. We need to talk about Berube. I think he's getting way too much of a pass right now. Anyway, we should go on. Allmark, goalie goal, love to see it. Okay, trades. You know what? Because we're talking about the Bruins, we might as well actually start with the fact that technically a three-way trade happened, but then again, it doesn't really count because it's just.
Where does Minnesota have all this money, by the way?
I thought they would have been so tight against the cap with the buyout stuff, but they're
because I think, and then, they didn't sign Kevin Fiala, and then they get the Matthew Boldy one. It kicks in next year.
Yeah. Anyway, the move is the Washington Capitals acquire Craig Smith, my guy, a first this year, a second in 2025, a fourth in 2024. Minnesota is there to help with the money. They get a fifth from Boston. And in exchange, the Bruins receive, as you've probably seen said, one of the most Boston Bruin play style depth guys ever with Garnet Hathaway and defenseman Dmitry Orlov. Daniel, by the way, you and I threw out the possibility that maybe they could go get Dmitry Orlov. It happened, so we are #confirmed insiders.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Yeah. Monahan
happy to have that role.
Monahan for McDavid, 1-for-1 will happen. Shout out to Monahan not going on the Californian trip, so he's not getting traded. God damn it. What's happening within Montreal, please? But listen, the Bruins, I think, here have made the decision, thankfully so for their fans, to not send these assets for Gavrikov and instead get one of the most underrated defensemen of the past couple of years in Dmitry Orlov. As a biased hockey fan, this is a tremendous move for the Bruins, in my opinion.
Yeah, they literally listen. The rumored price for Vladislav Gavrikov is a first and a third. That's the price. They paid that. They paid a second, and then they paid a fourth for the retention, which they probably would have done for Gavrikov too. They would have paid for the retention, I imagine. And then they also got Garnet Hathaway. I think this was the superior deal. If you're looking at the two, I think this is the superior deal. You're getting the better defenseman, 100%. Maybe I'm way too low on Vladislav Gavrikov, but I think you're getting the much superior defenseman in Dmitry Orlov, and you're getting a guy in Garnet Hathaway who will very much fit on your fourth line with absolutely no problem. So, man, it's turning into an absolute arms race in the East.
What I like about this is they definitely got two people. What you said, Alex, they complement what Boston already built there. And Garnet Hathaway, I'm thinking, him playing with Trent Frederick, that's already like a gritty, nasty line. And someone like Dmitry Orlov, it's just going to add to what they already have there. It's a guy that he's proven, despite having so many trade requests in the past, finally gets to a team where he gets to compete again. I don't know what the Capitals are going to do beyond this season. I know that Ovechkin lost a few games there because his dad passed away, and then they went 0-5 without him. And it's just not looking like, this might be like, we always mention last dance, but I don't know what Washington's going to do unless they retool. And for Boston, I think they saw what we all saw already, is that this is the year to go all in, because like I said it before, they've gotten so lucky with the way their players have been playing, the way they've been aging, the way they got David Krejci back. If you're going to have someone like that, so many of these things going right for you, then that is the time to go all in. And I don't think they overpaid in any way.
I want to provide the context of what their defensive pairings look like right now, because we always talk about Carolina being one of the best, if not the best, in terms of depth. This is their first pairing: Grzelcyk and McAvoy. Then you have Lindholm and Brandon Carlo. And then on your third pair, you have Derek Forbort and Dmitry Orlov.
That's so dumb. Everything has gone right for the Bruins. Mm-hmm. Ignore this. Ignore their goaltending being great. The depth looks great. Foligno sort of found a role. But on top of all of that, I mentioned Krejci. Zacha has been good. DeBrusk as well. Coming back. Really, you can tell wants to stay, the trade request being gone, and being as effective as he's been. Everything is going right for the Bruins. It's almost like sometimes winning the cup. Like Colorado, there was a story there. It just feels like the Bruins are meant to win this year. To Washington, and also to add on your thing of missing Ovechkin, they've also missed John Carlson for periods of time. Tom Wilson missed the start of the year. It's tough there. It's tough. Now, apparently, I wanted to find this because I saw something on Chikrin. Actually, before I say that, it's funny that obviously Orlov and Hathaway, the Leafs, O'Reilly and Achari, the Rangers, Tarasenko and Nico Mikkola.
And Patrick.
And Alex, let me do my thing. What I mean is, it is the year of the two-player trade. AKA, instead of just getting the one rental, everyone's packaging guys. Everyone wants two guys. So I saw somewhere, I'm trying to find exactly where I had it here. Give me a minute as I stall. Darren Dreger tweeted that apparently Chikrin is a player of interest for Washington. So it's interesting that we looked at St. Louis and Washington are two teams that we've seen. They're retooling now. They have newly found draft capital. They've been linked to players like Meier and Chikrin. Washington has been linked to Meier, but you know what I mean, right? It is creating a bit of intrigue leading up to the deadline, which I do appreciate. And obviously, we know Chikrin in St. Louis, going back to last year, there was always whispers about it. Maybe Washington retool bringing in Chikrin. That'd be pretty nice.
And considering they have one defenseman under contract past this year. That's pretty much what you could imagine. Like not getting rid of, trading. Okay, let's calling this season. It's what it is. They're trading Dmitry Orlov and Garnet Hathaway. They're not sellers, but let's call them sellers. Then bringing in Jacob Chikrin, I think would be a bright spot for a season that really hasn't gone to plan, considering how their summer went.
Yeah, I could see that. I think we mentioned with so many generational talent that, as long as you have someone on the on your team like that, we'll get to that, Adam. I kind of feel that you have to always kind of retool quick or go all in. We talked about the Sidney Crosby factor. I think with Ovechkin that things you can't just let things go to the wayside. I know that we have had a lot of injuries with that, but you still have to just keep on adding just for as long as he wants to play. And yes, Adam, we'll go to it.
Breaking news. Per Darren Dreger, we have the details of a trade that was announced before the show started.
3 hours ago.
Yeah, and that is the St. Louis Blues have traded Ivan Barbashev. The team is Vegas. The return is, I believe, 2021 first-round pick, Zach Dean. No draft capital. Now, Dreger also tweeted earlier in the day that this does not take Vegas out of the Timo Meier sweepstakes. Anything else you guys wanted to mention? Because Daniel, I cut you off there. Anything else you guys want to say on that note before we quickly go to Meier? We won't spend long on Meier because it could happen any moment now, but anything else you guys want to say before we go there?
One thing, yes.
Yeah.
It's funny because when we did the emergency podcast episode when Jack Eichel was traded, and then we asked ourselves, who are the picks Vegas are keeping, like their first round picks? And like, oh no, don't worry, they have Zach Dean still.
Not anymore.
And not anymore.
Okay. With that, Meier, this is what's going on. So last night on 32 Thoughts Hockey Night edition, god damn it, guys. Elliot Friedman said, first off, it looked like that, first off, when it came to Timo Meier, an extension was sort of unlikely for it sort of trading in, that right now teams are sort of pushing San Jose to finally make a decision. Now, at the time, he did say that the team's still interested and still in, because teams are really being narrowed down here, were Vegas, New Jersey, and at the time he said Carolina. And now this morning, things moving fast. Pierre LeBrun has been on this all morning. He said that apparently late last night, Carolina were told they were out. We'll get to Carolina in a second because Frank Saravelli said a little bit on them. Man, if they swing, we got to be careful here because we can sound so at the risk of recording this time of the year. But Vegas, talk about, they have cap space right now because of Mark Stone being on LTIR. Shout out to Michael Hutchinson being called up. Never get rid of him. If they bring in Meier, they bring in Barbashev. Well, we know Barbashev's in, but did they add Meier to that mix? And then Mark Stone's back at some point in the playoffs? Man, I wouldn't count out Vegas. I wouldn't count them out.
A lot of like two-way players there. I'm liking, if they already have Barbashev, Mark Stone comes back, and then you get Timo Meier. It's a very gritty but responsible forward group they're gonna have there.
Mm-hmm. It'll be for the West, which let's be frank, isn't particularly strong this year. I think for Vegas, if they do end up loading up, already leading the Pacific, just I think makes them that much better when Mark Stone eventually does come back. And I think it not necessarily keeps them afloat, but getting Timo Meier would I think solidify them as first in that division without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion. I can't see the teams behind them catching up. But I will say, since we're on the topic of Meier and you brought up New Jersey, and I know we're going to get to this, but it comes back to, if the Rangers get Patrick Kane, the Rangers already have Tarasenko and Mikola, and the New Jersey Devils stand pat, that's tough. That is very tough. And right now it looks like it's going to be a Rangers Devils first round matchup. Dude, walking into that first round series, I would, and you don't make a swing, that's tough. And like Timo Meier is more than a swing. It's not a rental. It's a guy who you keep moving forward. And I think if you're the Devils, you have to make that move. Like, to me, it's the most obvious. Look at the names that are now off the board. Meier is the most obvious move to make, and it's the move that will make your team better for sure. There's not even a chance it doesn't.
Yeah, I like that you brought up, the Devils, the Rangers in a potential first round matchup. It's pretty exciting, I think, for the game because it's been so long. I'll say 2012? Both teams have been competitive. They've both been contenders that we could really see something like that again. We bring back all the old series of, Lundqvist versus Brodeur. So we'll see how that goes. But it would be a crazy thing. I've just been thinking about this right now because, Patrick Kane is from Buffalo, but, he did a lot of his development and his play in, neighboring New Jersey. What happens if he goes to New Jersey? You just bring it up there as a hypothetical.
Listen, I think it's all set in stone. He's going to New York. They're making all the moves to make that happen.
Let's touch there then. Patrick Kane. Okay. He's going to be a Ranger in a few days, maybe. Today, maybe. So here's how it looks. By the end of the week. Yeah, he's going to be a Ranger. He's going to be a Ranger. So this was last week. Reports started surfacing. It looks like that the Rangers were still interested in Patrick Kane. And it sounds like the price is going to be ridiculously low. And we maybe have a Claude Giroux situation where Patrick Kane wants to be a Ranger. That's the only place he's going to go. And the return's going to be pretty crap. So this is what's happened. Vitaly Kravtsov was traded to Vancouver yesterday. Jake Leschyshyn was waived. Now, this tweet is from Puckpedia. Actually, before I say that, obviously, for this trade to work, Patrick Kane is going to have to be double retained. Now, obviously, it's been said that there are teams out there like Montreal, Minnesota that, obviously will try and, broker some of that to get draft capital if they're the second team to retain. So the reason I mention that is because they're going to bring up Kane's cap hit here. And obviously, we all know he makes $10.5 million, but this is taking into account if he's retained. From Buckpedia on Twitter, after trading Kravtsov, $875,000 cap it, the Rangers have $433K projected cap space, which can fit $1.67 million annual cap hit today. If Leschyshyn's $767K down tomorrow, because he was waived yesterday, Kane can fit at $2.625 million on March 1st. Alternatively, could fit Kane sooner by putting Lindgren on LTIR, and apparently he was in a sling the other day, or other players off of the roster. More likely, it's probably going to be Lindgren on LTIR, or they wait until March 1st. It's a waiting game. It's the worst kept secret in the league right now. He's going to be a New York Ranger.
All right, guys, it was cool. Let's report back in May when it's Boston and New York in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Man, you think ESPN's just like, best American market, and just Gary's like, thank God.
Yeah,
not as good as probably his ideal like Arizona Columbus matchup, but it's there.
Gary heard the whispers of Edmonton and then said no. That's not happening.
Made a call and said, "No, on my watch."
Yeah, exactly.
I hate it so much.
Man, it's gonna be. Okay. Yeah, not surprised. Like, man,
just get it done.
Yeah,
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the rumors.
But I like the period of reflection.
What? Oh, because my God, yeah. For anyone who didn't see this, please explain the period of reflection.
Yesterday morning-ish, I think it was through LeBron or it was through Dreger, one of the two. There was a quote from Kane's agent Pat Brisson, who said that Patrick Kane will be flying back to Chicago, and essentially for some type of period of reflection. And I'm like, what period of reflection, sir? We all know where you're going. Are you reflecting back on your time in Chicago? I just want to.
He's hitting up all his favorite spots.
I just want to know what the period of reflection is for. Listen. Let's be real. We all knew he wants to go to New York. That was the only option. And I'll tell you how we all know. Did everyone see the quote after Tarasenko got traded?
That's pretty bold.
Listen, I'm not criticizing him for saying that. All I'm saying is we've known for like 3 weeks. I don't know. Like,
he has to talk to the local businesses, the coffee shop he's gonna miss. He grew into a man in Chicago.
I mean, they could have done a better job raising him off the ice.
I always think about that too. Just like, maybe this is a common thing we don't know of. Maybe there is really a period of reflection before a player know he's going to be dealt. Like, you think Ryan O'Reilly did that in St. Louis?
No, Daniel, you're giving them way too much. You're giving him and his agent too much credit. All they had to say was, like the Flyers did it too. It's like, we're just resting him. No, you're not resting JVR. We all know what you're doing, guys. Like, all he had to say was, we're not playing. He's not playing because he's going to be traded this week.
One last Philly cheesesteak.
Dude, he's like, it's so, they try to make it so much more complicated. Arizona had it first, man. Trade related reasons. I'll give them respect for that.
So I just want to read you guys this Kevin Weeks. There's not much else to say with Kane, to be honest.
No.
This is from Kevin Weeks 2 minutes ago. This is a very confusing sounding tweet. If Vancouver decide to move stud goalie Thatcher Demko, I can see the following. Penguins have multi-All-Star goalie and BC native Tristan Jarry. Buffalo have young goalie Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. LA stacked with young players and prospects, Pettersson and Copley under contract as well. So I'm guessing he's trying to say, man, Kevin, you need to just. It's annoying because then he tags, like, he does hockey Twitter. He tags the NHL Network, ESPN, and NHL. Kevin, if you didn't do all those tags, you could probably fill in the rest of the tweet. So I'm assuming.
Sorry.
There it is.
Oh, so I just wanted to see the video of the top of his head, though. I'm really disappointed.
What's up, NHL?
It would also be. We prefer that for me, Kevin. So is he trying to say a swap for though? I don't know what.
I think he's saying if he's moved, those are the 3 teams.
Let's get.
It's just it's just opinion, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So that's okay. Thank you, Kevin. Oh, okay. You mentioned trade-related reasons, Alex. Here are some of the guys who are out right now for trade-related reasons. Now, James Van Riemsdyk's a bit of an asterisk because apparently he's banged up. It's not too serious, but he sat last night. Patrick Kane, not exactly a period of reflection, but whatever. Sam Lafferty, Jake Leschyshyn was being sat. Luke Shen is being sat. Gavrikov and our good friend Jacob Chikrin. Oh, God, just get it done. Okay, from here, we should mention, first off, some stuff last night from Hockey Night in Canada, 32 Thoughts. I can't find where I put the James Van Riemsdyk stuff. Oh, no. Hold on. Wait, there it is, from Jeff Merrick. James Van Riemsdyk, some of the teams interested include Dallas, Minnesota, and Vegas. Now, I think it's safe to say that maybe Dallas are out on that with the addition they made, which we'll talk about in a second with Dadonov. Vegas just made their move, so I wonder if that's Minnesota now. But yeah, hey, maybe that's gonna happen. I guess
he can come back to Toronto.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I would like that.
Even though, according to Elliot Friedman, we'll talk about the Sens a little later, but them and the Leafs are looking for D. You gave me the transition, Alex. I had to. Toronto have really started focusing on the position, and they don't care about handedness. Who is the tar? I know we talked about it last week, but did
Jacob
you guys
Chikrin? No.
I mean, I think Alex would be fine with Chikrin.
I would be more than fine. Listen, like I've warmed up to the idea of Luke Shen. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm not particularly. I wouldn't particularly be happy with Gavrikov at the price they're asking for. I don't know. The way Friedman talked about it made it out to seem like Jake McCabe's kind of out of the question because it doesn't seem like they're looking for someone with term. So again, it's a pure rental. What are the other options that are good enough? Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, that's why to me, I would take Luke Shen over Vladislav Gavrikov 10 times out of 10. So that's that to me. So if we're talking about a depth defenseman, yeah, I guess I'm very warmed up to the idea of Luke Shen, unless I'm missing someone massive that I cannot think of.
There was actually a health update on one of the big name defensemen last night, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, sure.
Traveling with his team on the California.
No. I'm just stop. Enough.
Vincent, baby.
Enough. No, I'm not.
How much is he making?
4.5 million. Oh, 3.4. It's not
3.4.
Okay, so the Leafs need a broker team again.
I mean,
he's not. No. He has another year left. How does that? Friedman,
exactly term? There you go. You're fine. You don't need Justin Hall leaving.
The Leafs don't. They don't want term. What the Leafs? He specifically made it out to see him that the Leafs
don't. It's fine though. Yeah, but Edmondson, low cost. Justin Hall.
He makes $3.45 million. What low cost?
And he is a Stanley Cup winner who can play in the top four. Maybe not his ideal place. Anyway, Alex,
he hasn't played all year. He's barely played.
Okay, yeah, he's
barely played. He has barely played all year. Last year,
and he's come back and he's trying because he's full of character.
Wow, that sounds like Nick Foligno.
Oh,
is that worth a first? No.
All right.
Anyway,
listen, I don't mean to shoot down your hopes, but not to the Leafs. I didn't.
I had to take it.
I said rental, and you gave me a guy with a year left.
Listen, I'm just saying that have some respect. We can talk about one Habs trade though that happened before the show started that you can't use.
Honestly,
the most unremarkable stretch is a Hab. Evgeny Dadonov is gone. Man, that it did not work. It did not work in Montreal. So Evgeny Dadonov is reunited with Pete DeBoer in Dallas. In exchange, the Canadians get Denis Gurianov, who has finally been... Man, is there not a guy who we just forgot about who it just sounded like was on his way out for years, like Denis Gurianov in Dallas?
Yeah, I was going to think they both moved in 48 hours or 24 hours. Vitaly Kravtsov and
that's true. Yeah.
Denis Gurianov, the two guys that are like, will they go? Will they not? Will they be part of a bigger package? We don't know.
So really what it is the Stars have been looking for a middle six winger. Maybe a guy who can play with Tyler Seguin. They get that with Evgeny Dadonov. The Canadians, apparently Pierre LeBrun was talking about they couldn't see themselves getting like more than a third or even a third out there, third round pick. So instead they go for the reclamation project and Denis Gurianov. He's 25 now. He is a guy who plays with a lot of speed, which fits into the philosophy that the team is building. I think it's a perfectly fine trade. Nothing to scream about. He is an RFA at the end of the year, so there's team control. But it fits the Kent Hughes philosophy of buying low on a sort of not a prospect. He's 25, but the buying low on a sort of reclamation project, you can say.
I want you to scream.
Why?
Come on. I don't know. Sometimes just scream. Don't scream into the mic.
That's why I'm backing up.
I feel like you need
to scream about.
Well, I mean, what if Denis Gurianov wins you a game or two or something?
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, because they're going to give him the minutes.
Well, everyone's hurt.
Yeah.
Kirby Doc is out indefinitely. Arbor Jacki is done for this season.
Mike called it.
Chris Tierney.
Mike called it.
Yeah, he did. So I mean, yeah, he'll play.
Yeah.
Of course he'll play. By the way, Caden Gould is back apparently because Schumann got sent down. But I just
joking.
I'm okay with it. I mean, like it's just it is what it is. I mean, it's just it's a shame it didn't work with them. This may be their only trade at the deadline, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. There's no bad way to look at this. Like I think you had texted it this morning. Like they got him for what? For Shea Weber's contract.
And I remember at the time I thought they'd have to give something up to dump that contract. And they got a warm body. Now I was hoping he would score some goals and get a second.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a mid trade.
Yes.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm happy that at least for Dodonov, he'll go to a coach. He was a good goal tonight, man. I like it for the Stars too.
He was a great duck for a couple hours.
Yeah, man. Never forget.
Never forget.
Poor guy. I do kind of feel bad that he went through all of that, but but there you go. Fantastic. Oh, okay, from here. Oh god, this is annoying. 32 thoughts, Jeff Merrick. Oh, I hate Tracy. The Preds are open for business. The only non-starters, the untouchables, Philip Forsberg, Roman Yossi, and UC Saros. Now, this came out of nowhere. Apparently, Dante Fabro, per Jeff Merrick, will most likely be dealt before the deadline and mentions maybe the Sharks are a fit. Tanner Jeannot is also receiving a lot of interest. He mentions Dallas as a fit. I don't know if that's still going to fit. But we mentioned, by the way, I forgot to put it on the doc here. Nashville moved one of their best pieces in Nino Niederreiter, got a second, like next year. But it looks like the Preds are gonna do it. They're gonna maybe rebuild there. I didn't think they ever would.
I love.
Oh, we called it insiders.
Yeah,
I
was gonna say we called it.
We said Nino Niederreiter is the only piece they can move. I mean, hashtag insider elite. We're good. You're welcome. Yes. Winnipeg. By the way, nice. I like that for Winnipeg a lot. Nino Niederreiter, especially with the extra year.
It's funny because I love how we talked about will they go all in? Will they not go all in? They're not going all in. It's just they had it spot on. Like that's their philosophy. They're just not going to go all in. They could have tried to go get Meier, but whatever. It is what it is. Nino Niederreiter's fine. I'm sure they'll pick someone else up and go from there. But the Preds, yeah, I'm glad we called it. Adam, you had it first a couple weeks ago.
I did.
My favorite part is like, who are they going to trade? And then you're looking, it's like, I don't know.
Literally just Nino Niederreiter.
And then they're two RFAs and everyone else is a mystery.
That was so out of left field. Fabro's going to get dealt. Like, that just feels very...
I thought he's a guy they would keep. I'm surprised.
I guess because it just hasn't worked out. Maybe it's just sort of needs a new set of scenery. And
remember the story there with him, and just we're going to be content with his slow development. Let him go to the World Juniors. Let him go to the NCAA. Then bringing him up gradually.
If I'm New Jersey, sorry, Alex, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If I'm New Jersey, I think I would really like Tanner Jeannot. They need more of that type of player. You know what I mean? I think him and Meier. We've talked about in our many group chats, Mike and I especially, that, maybe there's a thing of, do New Jersey have enough playoff type players? The way Jeannot plays the game, I would, if I'm them, I get him and Meier. But if you have the available cap and assets afterwards, I would get Tanner Jeannot too. I think that's the type of player they need.
Yeah, I was going to say, he obviously didn't mention it, but like if... I would listen. Color me. I wouldn't be surprised if the Leafs were interested in Dante Fabro.
I was gonna say that. Yes, right hand shot.
Like, wait. Where did he play?
He did. No, he played college. He played NCAA. Yeah. I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised.
A younger guy,
right? Defenseman too.
Mm-hmm. Great name.
Oh, Dante Fabro. That is an all timer. That's an all timer name. I mean, do we know his contract situation or?
Yeah, he has. No, I have it up. Last year of a deal at 2.4. He's an RFA, ARB eligible.
God, yeah, that's such a dubious move.
Listen, I know Merrick made it seem like Tanner Jeannot was going to be pricey or costly. That is another guy. If I'm the Leafs, I would definitely take a look at. You know what I mean? Like.
What's your ideal package?
I don't know. It's pricey is what the issue is.
What's Jeannot's contract situation looking like?
Same thing. RFA, ARB eligible at the end of the year.
And with how he's played this year, he hasn't had as much puck luck. You could probably get him reasonable price too. Just some other stuff quickly. Frank Saravelli said that even with the Canes being out on Meier, they're still on the hunt for increased firepower and finishing touches. Like finishers, like scorers. They've also made calls in recent days looking for a left shot deep to upgrade their defensive core. Jacob Chikrin.
Sorry, the Carolina Hurricanes are looking to upgrade their defensive core. Is that what he said?
See, here's the thing. They do that a lot.
I don't get it.
They always make a move for a D. Like Brady Shea, even Brentford.
Yeah, man. Their left side is Slavin, Shea, and Calvin DeHaan.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and go get Jacob Chikrin.
Oh, stop.
Maybe they go get no Shenzo Wright D, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
maybe they get Jake McCabe. No, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
But he's also a right D, isn't he?
No, left.
Oh, he's left? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess it would be cheaper. Left D aren't worth as much. But they
except for Team Canada.
Yes, true. True. Okay, so the Ottawa Senators made a trade earlier this year. This year, Adam, what are you talking about?
They made multiple trades.
Oh, they is.
Oh, my dogs are going nuts right now. I don't know if you can.
They like the joke.
No, can't hear.
I heard like a faint bark.
Oh, okay. Good. If you can hear them like I can, it's not faint. My neighbor's looking down at our windows. Don't stare here, dude. Weirdo. I'm trying to stall because the trade tracker is not loading properly for TSN. Guys, you know what I love, by the way?
What do you love?
A nice chilled bottle of green Powerade. On top of that, I also love dissecting trades, like the Chicago Blackhawks giving up feature considerations, nothing. And the Sens dumping to them Nikita Zaitsev, a 2023 second and a 2026 fourth. Alex, you had a funny text the other day.
Yeah, I understand why they made the move, and I'm a little critical of it, but I want to point out, why is no one talking about how he's made two moves like this now? And he's given up draft picks. He hasn't moved down. He's given up draft picks. He's given up a second, a third, a fourth, and a seventh to get rid of Nikita Zaitsev and Matt Murray. Kyle Dubas. Let me put this out there. Kyle Dubas, I'm about to defend Ken Holland right now. That doesn't happen ever.
Oh boy. Clip this, people.
Yeah. Kyle Dubas and Ken Holland literally moved down in a draft to get rid of Mrazek, sorry, and Zach Kassian.
Yeah.
Kyle Dubas traded Nick Ritchie.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Got and a pick. Got back Ilya Lyubushkin in that trade, who everyone said the Leafs needed.
Breakaway shorthanded goal the other day.
Yeah. There's who else? Jarmo Kekalainen traded pennies on the dollar Oliver Bjorkstrand for a fourth round pick. And he got criticized for it.
Eric Branson money right there.
Why is no one talking about Pierre Dorian Summer?
Here's why, Alex. Because everyone, it's kind of like why Meier's been quiet. Everyone cares about Patrick Kane right now. I think that's why a lot of the attention's there.
No, but they're all. I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because we're all talking about it. We're all talking about Nikita Zaitsev being moved, dude. And listen, you guys are gonna have your battle about Cam Talbot and Marc-Andre Fleury. I'm gonna be straight out. That trade is an absolute failure right now. Philip Gustafson is doing fine in Minnesota, and I understand. You know what? Philip Gustafson didn't have the best time with the Ottawa Senators last year, but he is a young goalie, and you gave up him to bring in Cam Talbot with 1 year left on his contract, who had, he had a fine year with the Minnesota Wild last year. Fine. He's 35. He's on the back end of his career because you thought your rebuild was done. So you went into this season with Cam Talbot and Anton Forsberg as your two goalies. and you gave up Philip Gustafsson. Come on, why? I don't understand why no one's talking about this.
This is also not the first time in your recent memory they've given up a young goalie. Remember, who's the young guy they lost to the expansion draft?
Chris Drieger.
No, that was Florida.
That was Florida.
The guy who played at the University of
Joey Decord.
There you go.
Decord, out of Arizona State or whatever it is.
This also isn't the first year that the rebuild's supposed to be over.
Oh, there it is.
Listen. I think the Ottawa Senators have a crazy crop of prospects. Tim Stützle, Josh Norris, Alex DeBrincat, who's not their own. Like, they traded for him, fine. Dude, they brought in Alex DeBrincat and Claude Giroux, and then we spent 4 months saying, well, they're going to get Jacob Chikrin, and they did it. They didn't even make a move on defense. Why? Like, how are we not talking about Pierre Dorion not getting a defenseman and then having to trade away Nikita Zaitsev, and we don't even know what their next move is except they might get a defenseman. Come on, that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous.
You already said it there, right? That a lot of people look at that prospect group of the draft picks they've had, of the people they've been acquiring, and I still think it's just that idea, that overarching idea that, no, just you wait, this is going to be a great team. They've had the assets and they will be a good team eventually. But I think, like you said, they're jumping the gun here. They're making moves that I think are counterintuitive of where they actually are on their timeline.
This was listen, this was a group of fans who said we are going to. They literally were of the opinion that they were going to be a playoff team this year, 100%. They're like, we're going to be a wild card team, or you know what, we might even make the Atlantic Division top 3. And then they got halfway through the season and realized that wasn't going to happen, and they decided to start harassing Montreal fans in the bottom 10.
Wasn't even the first half. Like, the Sens were looking bad. Remember when, like, their first 2 weeks, like, they won like one game? Also, yeah, like, God, they love picking fights, that fan base. By the way, I just want to mention Marc-Andre Fleury, 904 save percentage, Cam Talbot, 905. The reason I put Cam Talbot in the notes here is because it sounds like he's going to get traded. Interestingly enough, he did not start against the Habs on Saturday night last night. It was Mads Søgaard, fun enough. Got the win, young man. Good for him. Good for the tank as well. Let's go. Want that top 5 pick, baby. Also on Hockey Night in Canada, it was mentioned that they are looking for a D. They're not as concerned about term. It's not going to be Jacob Chikrin. They're also looking at centers because obviously Josh Norris is just done. And Daniel, I found who had the report about Ottawa being interested on Parayko. Frank Saravelli said apparently they were amongst teams who called St. Louis on Colton Parayko. So it's gonna have they're making a move, because here's the thing, they could still make the playoffs. The big thing is they had a big win. They needed to beat Montreal last night, but they have not 4-point nights. They have 8-point nights coming up. This was mentioned last night by Friedman, because they have 2 games upcoming against Detroit, which if they want to make the playoffs, they have to win those games. Those could determine both those teams this season. But that's what's going on in Ottawa.
I agree. They could make the playoffs. Once again, the issue I'm having here is Friedman said like 2 or 3 months ago that they called on Erik Karlsson. They're Friedman like, well, they're calling on everybody, all the defensemen.
Yeah.
So is no one out there good enough, or all the prices too high? Like, listen, I could look like a complete ass tomorrow when they make if they make a trade. I could. Sure, maybe. I don't know, but I just don't. We've been talking about them making a trade for a defenseman for months, and they haven't done it. This is like Adam and Alex Kerfoot. Okay, make the trade then. Like, there's teams making moves. There are teams making moves. What aren't you willing to give up? Are you going to give up your first round pick this year? Probably not, because you don't know if you're going to make the playoffs or not. Are you going to give up your prospects? I don't know. No one's saying anything. Well, we're not get. What was the thing they didn't want to give up? Ridley Greig or
Ridley Greig.
who's the other one? Tyler Boucher and a Jacob Chikrin deal.
No, not Tyler. Not Tyler Boucher. He's playing.
Oh, Tyler
really
Clevin.
No, not Tyler Clevin. I think their Sens fans may have gone on about him, but that's not the one you're thinking of. Oh God, he was scoring really well at the start.
Oh, Shane Pinto.
Shane Pinto, that was it.
There you go. Yeah.
They didn't want to give anybody up in a Jacob Chikrin deal. Why? If he's that good, you're going to get the defenseman that you wanted. You have to give up something to get something. If Jacob Chikrin is as good as everyone's saying he is, and I would agree he is, you're going to have to. That's why they're asking for 3 first-round picks or equivalents. I just make the trade. Please.
To finish off the stuff here, and this is basically non-trade deadline new stuff. First off, Nazem Kadri, nice reception last night on his return to Colorado. Always very nice to see that. Even tweeted about it afterwards. Patrick Marleau officially had his number retired by the Sharks last night. Shout out to Joe Thornton crying. That was very heartwarming to see. Happy for Marleau and that organization. Happy about that. Any words on Marleau?
His impact on player, listen, I can speak on it for the last few years. I think it's the impact he's had on younger players for sure is tremendous. And I think the impact he's had on San Jose, him being captain and taking that away, sometimes that doesn't go well, but it went it ran. And it went so well there, the maturity and the respect that he has for that organization and the respect that everyone has for him. There was no other way of looking at it except retiring his number. And also he has the most games played.
It's really funny that it's almost like, I feel like anyone who's been stripped of the captaincy in San Jose might have their number retired. Thornton could be there. Pavelski wasn't stripped of it, but that didn't end super as well as Sharks fans want. It's a tradition in San Jose.
Yeah.
Who is it right now? Couture?
Yeah, he's the captain.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just for me, being able to see him play for so long, what you guys said, the amount of games played, his consistency, and what he means to the San Jose market for hockey. I also see a player that, like what you said, went through being the captain and not being the captain, went through very poor seasons, not poor seasons, but in terms of what he was expected of at the time. He had 57-point seasons, and then he's kept with it. And he was a guy that when we had the Olympics with the NHL players, that he was a guy that they always mentioned, we have to have a guy like this on the team. And then seeing it up front in Toronto, seeing what San Jose was always able to see, seeing a guy that really did help. And I think I didn't like the 3 years, but we liked the 2 years where it was very beneficial to see what he was able to do with the younger guys like Matthews and Marner.
I always love mentioning the fact that those Ducks teams that had the likes of Perry and Getzlab get forgotten to be in the early 2010s how much of a force the Kings and the Sharks were. Sorry, Kings and Blackhawks. The Sharks are in that same breath. Patrick Marleau is probably a Hall of Famer. Joe Thornton's going to be a Hall of Famer. And those two put that market on their back and their team and were one of the best organizations for 15 years. Guy deserves everything, and hopefully sooner rather than later we see the same thing happen to Joe Thornton. Pat Hickey is officially retired, covering the Habs and all that. Nice little moment. I just wanted to mention that last night. We talked about it a few weeks ago, but it's officially happened. There's a nice toast to him, apparently, from the Habs before the game last night. And he got a little jersey and everything, so that was really nice. Jeff Merrick last night mentioning the original report from Haley Salvian, which I saw people sort of forget about the fact it was from Haley as well, so credit there. The PWHPA is set to announce their new league. It should be happening hopefully around March 10th to 12th, maybe the 11th, it seemed like Merrick was sort of pointing at. The PWHL would become the new name, and the PWHPA would become the union. Looks to be having 2 Canadian teams, 4 American. Hopefully it's Toronto and Montreal.
Probably is.
Yeah, maybe.
Would be my guess.
Good step for the women's league, even though, again, we're going to 2 leagues. Great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the 2 leagues per se. Like, it's not great, I guess, but like these people need somewhere to play would be my argument. And if you're not gonna have, if you what the PHF has 6 teams as well, like they are gonna need somewhere to play. And I think them playing here and there, I think they would agree with this too, isn't particularly sustainable model, especially when it comes to when they're working up to Olympics, championships, or whatever the case may be. So I think the ability to play competitive hockey more than a few times here and there leading up to tournaments is more than beneficial.
Anything from you, Dan, or shall we move on to Joe Quenneville?
Move on to Joe Quenneville.
So this was reported on Insider Trading from Darren Dreger. So Joe Quenneville and Stan Bowman are working at getting back into the league. Joe Quenneville's been working with Kim Davis. Stan Bowman has been working with Sheldon Kennedy's group and Kim Davis. Now, listen, I'm all for second chances and people learning from mistakes and all that type of stuff. I just can't swear on the show, but I find it very BS that 2 people at that age through that much experience in the game are really going to change. And I can't wait to see the teams that decide to bring them back, because I will publicly shame you to the nth degree, because they should not be in the game. That's all I'm going to say on it.
All I'm going to say is, it is what it is for hockey. It's always going to be the same guys that know each other, and they're always going to be having these types of chances. So I don't know. Like, I think for us following it, we could separate it. But I think for a lot of people that they see these names, they're not really separating the legacy from what went on in Chicago. So I think that's kind of something I'm thinking about.
I really hope Kim Davis isn't too distracted by Joe Quenneville. Hope it's not too much of a distraction. As Joe Quenneville put the situation, I'll remind everyone. Distraction. A dick. Anything else? Move on to Pittsburgh?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
This is something that I am personally offended by, because I heard 32 Thoughts talk about this. Now, Pittsburgh and St. Louis are sort of in similar situations this year. A few days ago, after getting absolutely trounced by the Oilers, there were fire Hextall chants going on in Pittsburgh. Now, also leading up to this, Craig Berube basically called out his big players, and I think you can very much put emphasis on Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas, who have just gotten big extensions. Robert Thomas disagreed with the comments and all this type of stuff. Leading up to this game, now it's funny leading up to this on the Pittsburgh side of things, because Barry Kapanen was waived, and then the Blues picked him up. I thought that was really interesting. Now, if you look at Craig Berube playing without passion, without all this type of stuff, there was one phrase he used where I can't remember exactly what he said. But I want to compare. Everyone's heard the clip, and I want to compare it to this quote that Mike Sullivan had. So, Coach Sullivan on Kapanen's. This is from the Pittsburgh's official Twitter account. Coach Sullivan on Kapanen's absence from practice. Hexy informed me that before practice that he was held out because he's going to go on waivers here this afternoon. Sullivan on Kapanen. When a team doesn't live up to expectations, change is inevitable. That's a part of it. Cappy is a really talented player to a certain extent. It's all on us because we didn't find a way to maximize his potential. Now, I'm of the opinion Kapanen has gotten so many chances. Anything else is on him. But I just want to highlight the difference between I don't know how often coaches actually take accountability in this league. And listening to 32 Thoughts talking about this, and Jeff Merrick had this sort of quote basically saying, our generation is basically who he's talking about. And this idea of having a thank you letter in the mail and how our I think it's such BS that people seem to think our generation at everything wants to be told, you're your job. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. I think the difference you have right now between Craig Berube and Mike Sullivan, by the way, the Penguins ended up winning the game against St. Louis and they deserved the hell out of it. I think we're at an age right now where it's not just everyone being soft, by the way. I think what it is you realize now more than ever, you cannot coach a group, you coach individuals. And I'm starting to really think Craig Berube does not know how to do that.
Wait, sorry, say that again. You're coaching a group?
Individuals, not just a group. The best coaches, one management style, one coaching style does not work for every single player. Not to mention, I'm not even mentioning the fact that all the trade the Blues have made recently. But let's just get over the fact that this is a generational thing. Shut up. I just want to bring that up.
Also, okay? Before you go on, I just want to add to that part.
Yeah.
I always find that amusing because who are the parents of this generation? Listen, I love my parents. This has nothing to do with my parents. They don't complain to me that my generation is soft. But let's be real. The people complaining that our generation is soft is the generation who parents our generation. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good
That's
point.
all I'm saying. I'm not you infer from that what you will.
You also know how some people are like, I want a better life for my child. Oh, they have a better life. I'm going to go through it. Shut up. I'm so sick of this whole thing of like, the millennials. By the way, stupid is it that some people don't know the difference between millennial and Gen Z. It is such a difference. I cannot stand it. Craig Berube, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, your goalie's not good. Your goaltending has been abysmal. You just traded your captain. You had another guy who the relationship between the team just was instantly on fire the moment Tarasenko didn't get the captaincy. You didn't keep Alex Pietrangelo, your last captain, an Olympic-level defenseman at the time. Your defense has been such a stupid mess with the contract that's given out. And you want to give out about they don't try? And then everyone else has this thing of, oh my God, it's the young guy. Shut up. Stop it. The Blues, the message is out there. The message is not clear anymore with Berube, okay? The message is gone. They need a new coach. The guy, and not to mention, sorry, go on.
The thing is everything you just explained has nothing to do with Craig Berube. Everything you just explained has everything to do with the person above Craig Berube, which is, you said they didn't keep Alex Pietrangelo. I'm not saying, I'm not blaming Doug Armstrong. All I'm saying is, Alex Pietrangelo no longer being there is not a Craig Berube decision. Ryan O'Reilly and Vladimir Tarasenko no longer being there is a Doug Armstrong decision. The defense is a Doug Armstrong. While how they are deployed is a Craig Berube decision, the contracts handed out are a Doug Armstrong decision. The only thing where Craig Berube has more influence would be the captaincy. In the things that you're describing. I don't disagree with you. I just think there is some validity to what he is saying, though, because I think it's different than what Sullivan is talking about. I think Sullivan was just being nice. I think he just has a better understanding how to deal with poor situations when you're in a frankly winning franchise in recent memory. Like, maybe I'm too harsh on players, but when you are making the money that you are, and call me a boomer, call this a boomer take if you will, but when you are making the money that you are, the coach should not be the guy who gets you started in the morning. He shouldn't be you're making $6 million, for example. Damn right you start on time. What have we been yelling about in Toronto, at least for the last 7 years, is about starting on time and giving your effort. It shouldn't be the coach to push you to start. Frankly, it really shouldn't be. But like, that's my thing.
Here's let me clarify that.
Yeah.
So the reason I mention it is we know that the third line in Pittsburgh has been abysmal all year.
Sure.
But I would argue Pittsburgh are still in a position where they can make the playoffs. Now, obviously, they have Sidney Crosby and all that, but let's not. If we go back a couple months before the Blues started making all their trades, they still had their roster, and it was a mess from the start. There is some responsibility there on the head coach. That I will say.
For sure.
And I don't think a coach mentioning the money helps anyone at all. I get it. I get it is true. But I just don't think that is the message you want to send. Because, okay, so before the Thomas, I remember Thomas's extension kicks in this year or next year.
They both kick in next year.
So if you want to talk about money currently, do you have their cap friendly up right now, Alex?
I'll open it up real quick.
When you do, can you tell me if anyone on that roster currently makes more than $7 million AAV when it comes to forwards, please?
It's not Braden Shen, no.
No, Braden Shen makes 6.5.
Okay, so your highest paid forwards are the ones you traded away also, by the way. Tarasenko was 7.5, O'Reilly was in the sevens too. So if you want to bring up money, let's also bring that up, dude. I don't buy Craig Berube anymore. I just don't do it anymore. And this whole notion of he played a hard style and he was what? So basically he was a depth hitting guy is what we're going to point out here. He was like
an enforcer, basically.
That doesn't mean dick all about being a coach. Okay, you may get what it's like to play, but it's kind of like, did you see that clip of PK Subban sort of rolling his eyes at Mark Messier?
Yes.
Like, I will always at first respect the take from a guy like Wayne Gretzky and that because it's Wayne. But the way you played the game to how it is now is completely different. So I understand, and I know like he has a Stanley Cup as a coach. I can't take that away from him. But dude, do what you can with the tools you had. It's not even just like a thing of, and maybe I'm contradicting myself about the players maybe not being in a great space right now because the GM is sort of blowing up a lot of parts of the teams. But let's not also forget the fact that you also had a part in the way this team has performed. You had this full roster at the start of the year that made the playoffs last year, that won a round. To my chagrin, poor Minnesota. God damn it, I've lost faith in you. I just saw what Berube said, and I just had this thing of like, it's hilarious that coaches never seem to ever take accountability. And it's so rich to me that it came together against the Penguins, and the Penguins came and had a great victory, and the Blues were garbage again. It's just so funny to me. It was a perfect collision course. I just think, and listen, hey, Armstrong's not, you're right to mention Armstrong. A lot of that, maybe I'm being somewhat unfair to Craig Berube, but some of this is on him too. And I'm not fully excusing the players too. What I'm saying also is I think you have to, what do I always talk about perspective here, is half of the big leadership group and big parts of that cup run are now gone. We're not doing well, and now my coach is dogging me because I have money. And yeah, we're not playing well, but is that the message? Is that how you get players to play in 2023? I just don't think it's the right approach. I think the way I'm going at it is just mirroring them in Pittsburgh. And again, I mentioned Pittsburgh's roster and the leadership they have there is much different. Sidney Crosby's the GOAT, obviously. Sure. But it's just I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
I just like I get your point. Have you seen how many times John Cooper has called out his team? Fine, he hasn't brought up money. Fine, but John Cooper, I think he's the best coach in the NHL right now. Yeah. But I think you would agree he's one of the top coaches too. But he called out his team in the playoffs. Yeah. He's called out his team multiple times. Like, is it then is it then you're saying it's more of like on a situation basis? Because like coaches have called out players and coaches have called out their entire teams on multiple occasions. Like what's the issue here? Is it that he talked about money? I think
the money thing is really big.
Yeah.
The money thing is really
level
big.
Of success, I think. With John Cooper, I think you have that roster and you know what's expected.
4 finals.
right? Yeah, you know what is expected of them, and there's that standard. I think with St. Louis is they have the cup, but then it's a tailspin after that. That maybe, and I'm only speculating, Berube had his guys that he won with. Robert Thomas was a depth guy on that cup win. Jordan Kyrou wasn't in the NHL yet. And maybe it's just his own frustration because he does seem like one of those old fashioned coaches, like where he has those guys and those guys are gone.
Well, don't forget that. What was the big story? It's like Kairou's 5-on-5 ice time was always sort of like that. It's not as much as you would expect it to be. I think that's a good point. Oh God, I have a headache after that. God, it's just annoying. Do you guys have a thought on Kapanen being claimed by the Blues? By the way,
I think it's his last chance.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
This is his last chance.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's been a downfall for Kasperi Kapanen. It's been tough. Hopefully, he gets it back in St. Louis. Like, there's holes now that need to be filled. Right? You've traded 4 forwards now with Barbashev. Like, there's holes to be filled. You're gonna get your time. If there's a time to shine, I would have argued it would have been Pittsburgh, but
we all thought that. Remember that?
Yeah, right. You play next to Crosby, play next to Malkin, didn't work. This is your time to, I would argue, step it up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can I think we're moving on, but can I bring up? You brought up the PK Subban Mark Messier. I just wanted to say something about that because my dumbass went through the comments, which was obviously the mistake, because I forgot hockey fans are traditionalists, and I'm not going to use the word I wanted to use, but whatever. Have you guys by chance watched First Take or ESPN at all with JJ Redick?
Yes.
Do you enjoy it?
I mean, when Mad Dog's on it, I go back and forth, but I like JJ.
Okay, yeah, that's my question. Do you like JJ?
Yeah, I like JJ.
It's pretty interesting.
Right.
I have a weird take on this, but the thing is, his personality, because there's a short doc and a few articles on it, his personality of how he was one of the most hated NCAA players ever when he was playing for Duke. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that it's shown explicitly right now, but I think with his podcast and now that he's not in the league anymore in the NBA, there's that tinge or that feeling of it where he's coming back to it. So I could see that.
The thing with the reason I wanted to bring this up is that, listen, I know nothing about basketball. I know very little about basketball. So I don't know if his takes are right or wrong. But what has been missing to me in hockey media, let's call it, is the conversations, the debate. When I click on an ESPN YouTube video with JJ Redick and Stephen A. Smith, I know 9 times out of 10 there is going to be some type of debate. Mm-hmm. I don't care that when Mark Messier is on TV, I don't care that he has Stanley Cups.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't. He's also kind of boring.
He is, yeah.
Like the thing is if Mark Messier takes that personally, honestly, grow up. Like, it's TV and you're giving your opinion. Oh no, PK Subban disagrees with me, and he's adding a bit of personality to it. If you honestly think he's taking that personally, grow up. Is that not what we want? Am I confused? Do we not want a little spiciness? Respectfully, I'm tired of watching TSN and Sportsnet intermission shows and it just being everyone agreeing with each other. We saw it twice. We saw it twice with Kevin Bieksa and Jennifer Botterill, where they disagreed on something. And that was entertaining. I got something out of that because I'm getting 2 different perspectives. And I'm sure neither of them took it personally.
No. And then it just gets shut down by Ron McLean.
Like, we're all this idea, like, screw it, even if it wasn't disrespectful, man. He was like, I don't get it. I'm just so over people being, everyone knows it's not good, but then when there's a little bit of change, it's like, it's the freaking hoopla.
It's
I'm
like,
over it.
they're ruining the game.
I'm over it. I'm over it.
It's it definitely feels like Canadian media a lot is just sort of we have to be smiley and happy and love each other, and it's like, man, no, you don't. I don't care. Disagree. It's just I don't know. It's just I know what you mean though. There very much always feels like that sort of smoke community Canadian. I hate it. I don't like it either, man. I'm with you there. Um. To finish off, simply put, best wishes to Spencer Knight, young man going into the NHL players program. Just wish him the best. Simple as that. Hope he's good, and hopefully he can come back and continue to be the young talented goalie we all know he is.
Exactly.
And that's everything for the show. Ooh. So our next podcast is Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then after that is the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Wednesday is going to look. I don't know how Sunday is going to look. Well, Sunday will be busy because it's post-deadline.
Yeah.
Wednesday, I am worried to feel how that's going to be. We may have a Timo Meier trade. That will be fun to talk about. But, yeah. Maybe Patrick Kane by then. Who knows? But that's everything for now. Thank you for listening. We will see you Wednesday, probably.
Yeah.
Check us out wherever you listen to your podcast, and we're on all the social media, especially TikTok, Facebook. Don't forget Facebook. Stitcher for podcasts. Never forget. Alex, why are you doing a peace sign?
I'm saying bye.
Okay.
Peace.
All right.
I wasn't hurrying you up. I was just holding it up, man.
Okay, no, I was just wondering. I was like, is he doing a thumbnail? Like,
no.
2 more minutes, Adam.
No,
and we
that's
will. And yeah, we'll see you later. Goodbye.